a lot of the other stuff that he has done. And so I'm just going to turn it straight over to him.
So just a little bit about me. I'm 30 years old. I worked at the Museum of the Cherokee for about 10 years, and then you stay at a place long enough, and you kind of just feel like, well, I need to broaden my horizons, and I need to expand my how would you say my resume, if you will. So I actually work for First Citizens Bank in Cherokee. I work as a sales and service rep. And but other than that, though, that's what I do during my main job. In my free time, I do enjoy coming to places like this, talking to people like you, just those that are interested in Cherokee culture, or just southeastern culture as well as even Appalachian culture. It's funny, when I worked at the Oconaluftee Village back when I was in high school. It was funny when people come up, they would come to, because when you go to a place called the Oconaluftee Village, you're going to have a certain expectation when you go there. You expect, we hear about, on the description it says 18th century Cherokee living. So you're going to expect a certain thing based on what you've seen in Hollywood, based on what you've seen on television. Well, growing up in the South, you're not going to get the John Wayne-esque accents of the American Indian as portrayed through media, through television. You're going to get a guy that has a Southern Appalachian accent, and they are going to basically just educate you about the people. Well, does it help to talk through the microphone? I'll do that instead. I thought this was working. Is this for like something else? Anyway. Okay, I'll just do this instead. Does this come off? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. But yeah, so I grew up in the Yellow Hill and Wolftown communities. I was raised by mom. I was raised by my grandma. Most of my cousins, immediate cousins, are female. So I was mostly raised in a female type household, basically. I have a brother, raised along with him. Then I also have my uncle. He helped raise me as well. And the cool thing about that is that's traditionally how it would have been a long time ago, is being raised by the matriarch, but also within the matriarch, we go by what is known as our clan system. One of the things I have to talk about for sure when it comes to Cherokee culture is observing and acknowledging our clan system. A clan system that we still go by today, and we still acknowledge today, and we still use today. So my dad, for instance, he is Wolf Clan. He is Wolf Clan because his mom is Wolf Clan. I am Deer Clan because my mom is Deer Clan. And so from there on, like let's say if I decide to start a family with another Cherokee woman, our child would get the mother's clan. And that's how it's worked for a very, very long time. And oftentimes, of course, people like to use this, not everybody, but some of your scholars, some of your people, some of those that like to really go into the whole 12 tribes of Israel, 12 tribes or whatever, and they like to say, oh, well, Cherokee people must have been one of the lost tribes. And you're going to hear that often. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, our people don't believe that. But who cares what our people think? That's how it works. Oh, well, I read it from this description from this explorer back in 1794. I'm going to go off of this guy right here, rather than actually talk to the people themselves. And unfortunately, that's how it's been for the longest time. And so anytime that you come to an event like this, or if you're out in Cherokee or something, one of the things I was always told is to never assume. My grandpa, God rest his soul, he said, don't ever assume, because if you look at the word assume, there's 3 words in that one word. Starts with an A, starts with a U, and starts with an M. A, U, me. You get the idea. So, asking questions. So one of the questions I get often, if I go to a Pilot gas station or a Buc-ee's gas station, are you Indian? Are you Native American? Are you Cherokee? I don't go up to people and ask them that same question. I don't go up to people saying, are you black? Are you white? Are you from wherever? I'm like, no. Common sense. What do you do when you meet somebody? You say hello. How are you doing? Where are you from? You can ask those questions. It's okay, and it's okay. And so, but anyway, I don't want to ramble too much. I know people want to hear some flute music and even some stories, and so I will do that today, of course. And so, I've been playing flute for close to 12 years now, and I didn't really start taking it seriously until probably the past few years. First, it started out as a hobby. I would basically play flute for an organization known as the Cherokee Historical Association. And they would put on Unto These Hills, the outdoor drama. It's supposed to tell the story of the Cherokee from removal, which was around the 1830s, to basically modern day Cherokee. And so for the pre-show, I would do some music, flute music, and just entertain the folks for a little bit before the show started. And so that's mostly what I did. And again, I just did something just to kill time, because I don't know if anybody's ever worked in theater or anything like that, it starts to get monotonous. You're doing the same thing over and over. And so you learn to mess with the crowd a little bit. You learn to have fun with the people and all that. And so I would always try to play some music, or even tell a short story, if you will. And so with what I do, basically, I will meet all kinds of people. Many types of people exist throughout the world, coming from all walks of life. And I have to understand, though, and because I do get tired of ignorance, and it's not the people's faults, and I understand that. It's going to come a lot from, again, how people are misinformed. People are going to be miseducated as well. In some schools, people are taught that Native people are extinct, Indigenous people are extinct, that Cherokee people do not exist. And I will say, you're going to meet Cherokee people from all walks of life. You're going to meet us. We're not all going to be dark-haired, dark-skinned, dark eyes. You're going to meet, I have cousins that have blonde hair and blue eyes, and cousins that are mixed. Some will say Afro-Indigenous. So I have cousins that are mixed with South American. I have cousins that are mixed with Australian. Not really, but it'd be cool if I did, though. But anyhow, so just understand that we're going to come from all walks of life. The culture, like even though the people themselves, as people like to say, the blood quantum, the appearance of people, that's going to change. It's going to evolve. But we're also going to adapt as well, because the times are changing. As much as we don't like it, they are, and we have to move along with it. We can't stay stagnant. We can't, always stick to the past of things. Oh, I like things 4 years ago better, or I like things when this person was in charge. I'm like, hey, we have to accept what we have right now and hope that we can make the best of it. So, but anyway, I don't want to get into all that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music for you guys. And so, like I said, I've been playing for about 12 years or so. So flute music was really a long time ago, from what I was told, it was originally a chording instrument. And so the chording instrument, by that, what I mean is that there was this young woman in a village, and she was a very beautiful woman. I got to raise this up just a little bit. To 6'5" people. There we go. All right, there we go. And this woman wasn't just, wasn't impressed by just anything. She was very, I don't want to say picky. She knew what she wanted, I guess you can say. But anyway, so all of the men in the village would try to impress her. Someone sing songs to her, beautiful songs. For those that couldn't sing songs, some of them were great hunters. Some were probably great warriors. Some could make the most beautiful art and make the most beautiful beads out of copper and out of shell that came from the coast. And there was one guy. He wasn't very tall. He wasn't very handsome. He wasn't the greatest. He couldn't sing pretty songs like the other men folk could. But he thought this woman was beautiful. And so he wanted to court her. He wanted to, as you would say, woo her. Well, again, he didn't have any great attributes about him. But he thought, well, I wonder what I can do. He asked the elders, what can I do to impress this woman? I think this woman is beautiful. I'd love for this woman to be my wife. And so the elders, I don't know if this is what truly happened, but they sent him to the mountain. They sent him to a high mountain, and in hopes, when he got to this top of the mountain, he got to the peak, he would find a wonderful gift. And when he found that wonderful gift, he would bring that back for that woman. And so they probably just told him not to get rid of him. I don't know for sure. But as he was going up the mountain, and he's observing everything around him. He's listening to the birds singing. He's listening to the water, the creeks, the trees, the leaves rustling in the wind. And as for for Native people and many cultures throughout the world, for ceremony, if you're trying to find, as you would say, a blessing or a gift, you have to give a bit of self-sacrifice. And so for him, he would fast. He would go without food for several days until he found that gift. So as he got to the mountaintop, he would fast, he would pray. He was only allowed water. And so, I don't know if you've gone a day without food, it's not fun. It's, by choice. Obviously without choices, terrible as well. But for him, he was making the choice to not eat. And of course, when you don't eat, you get cranky and you get tired and you just start, thinking things and all that. And so as he got to the seventh day, he was tired and cranky, but he was still praying. He was praying, and he got to that last day, and he's looking around, he's observing everything around him, and he is seeing this udalanga, the woodpecker. Woodpecker came from out of nowhere. And the young man, he was sitting at this tree, and it was an old tree, it was hollowed, it was breaking apart, but it came to this one branch, and it was hollow, and he started pecking holes into that hollow branch. And as he started pecking the holes into that hollow branch, the wind would start to blow, and he would start to sweep his wings across the holes. He would start to make a song. And as he made that song, he was observing, and the young man was just in such astonished. He was amazed, and he thought, wow, I've never heard anything like that in my entire life. And as he breaks that branch off of that tree, he looks at it. He don't know what it's called yet, but he's looking at it. He's like just amazed by it, and he realizes this is the gift that he was searching for. So he takes that gift, and he starts walking back down the mountain. And as he was coming back up, he's doing the same thing as he's going back down. He's listening to the leaves, he's listening to the wind, everything, all the elements that are existent around him. He's listening to the water, the streams, everything around him. And as he's observing, he's taking in everything. And he's walking back to the village. And back in those days, we didn't have running water. So I don't know if anybody here is old enough to know or anything, but you would have had to actually go to the river or even go to the well and get your own water. In those days, you had to go to the river. So the woman, she had a large clay pot, and she's dipping it in the water, and she was taking it back home. And as she was walking out of the river, the young man stops her, and he asks her for her time. And so she nods in agreement. She puts the pot down, and she waits for him. She don't know what to expect. She's probably expecting the same thing. Oh, he's going to sing me a song like everyone else. He's going to give me something, whatever. So rather than singing her a song by mouth or giving her a beautiful piece of shell jewelry or copper jewelry, he plays for her a beautiful song. Now, I don't know if the song I'm going to play is going to be just as beautiful. I wasn't there, of course. But I hope it takes its place in a good way. I hope you enjoy it. All right. Thank you. And so he played that song for her, and she was like, "Do you think that was beautiful? What is that?" And he said, and I don't know what that is, but this can speak to you in ways that words cannot. I want to be your husband. I want you to be my wife. I want to build a family with you. Will you take my hand? And from then on, they got married. She accepted, and they were happy. And I don't know if y'all are in small communities or anything, but for some reason, you get people that get, jealous, and they see this couple doing well, and it's like, God, what's their problem? Why are they all happy? Why are they all smiling all the time? What's their problem? Well, anyway, and so, people ask, like, hey, how did this, not so handsome man get this beautiful woman to marry him? And so, the elders, and they said, well, we told him to go onto the mountain. We told him to go to the mountain and find a gift. And I guess this is what the gift that was presented to him. And so other men in that village, single bachelor men in that village were like, well, we need to do the same thing. So they all went to trees that had hollow branches and drilled holes into them and started making beautiful music with it. And they would play this music all along the river. And of course, the ladies, the women folk would go by the river, and they would hear this music because they had to go to the river to get water. And so they loved this music, thought it was beautiful. The fathers, however, didn't like it. They didn't like it, and so they're trying to figure out a way, hey, instead of, getting the water themselves, like, they were like, hey, well, what can we do to make sure our daughters don't come home with one of these men? And so the fathers got together, and I don't know if this part is true, this is just what I was told. The fathers got together and they got hollow logs and they glued them together. They would run those logs along the river, get hollow saplings, run them, connect them somehow, some way to the people's houses. The reason this is so easy because traditionally back then our houses, not teepees, were built next to the river, a little higher up to avoid flood damage. But anyway, they were raised kind of like trailers in a way, but better flooring and all that good stuff. But this is called a wattle and daub structure. But anyway, I'll talk about that later. They ran the water from the river to the people's houses. So that way they won't have to send their daughters to the river to, get escorted by one of those flute players. But that's just what I heard. I don't know for sure. But anyway, that's the story of the first flute. Thank you. And thank you. And so with that, usually with music comes in many forms. Traditionally, flute hasn't been around forever. Some archaeologists, some ethnologists, all these, whatever gists at the end of their names, they always have this thing about how old things are. And they like to say, well, Cherokee people have been around for only 13,000 years, according to the Bering Strait theory. But again, that theory is always changing. For a little while, it used to be 10,000 years. And then they found other stuff that Native people, Cherokee people, because not all Native people were probably on this continent. Some probably did cross over. I'm going to get more to that here in a little bit. Well, yes. So whenever they found other stuff saying, well, there's Cherokee people. They have a settlement going back 13,000 years. Well, then some scientists were, well, we can't let that happen. So we're going to make it now. The Bering Strait is 13,000 years. Okay, then it moved to 15. It changes constantly. It changes constantly. And that's the thing about science. There's never an official answer. Everything is based on theory. And so, but it's really, really good educated theories. I am not telling anybody to not go against science. We already got enough leaders in office that do that. So anyway, upon that, We have a village site down in what's known as Allendale County in South Carolina, dating back approximately 40,000 years old. That's a very old site. That predates the Bering Strait, and from what I've been told and heard, the last 2 ice ages. So our people have been here a very, very long time. And people, well, how did you survive? How did you live in teepees back then? No. But anyway, so we lived in what's called a wattle and daub hut up until about 8,000 years ago. We were in what's called the Archaic period. Archaic period is when we started growing gardens and doing more fishing, using more fish traps, and then going to the Paleo period is when you started getting more, as you would say, what's that? Primitive. Yes, primitive style of living. Living in rock overhangings, living in caves. Actually, and I might be mixing up the nations here. The Choctaw Nation, the Choctaw people, they call us, I've heard 2 words, Cherokee and Cherokee. The meanings, some say this means the cave people. And so for another tribe to call us that must mean we're pretty old. That must mean we've been here a while. But then, what's funny is you know us as Cherokee people. And what's funny is Cherokee is not our original name. We didn't have any R sounds in our language. And so often you probably wonder, well, what did you call yourselves? Well, we went by a few different names. One, I'll go with the ones that are easier to say first. Let's do that. Chalagi. Chalagi means those who wait. That's one word. Ani Gaduwagi, that means the people of the mother town. We have a site down near Bryson City known as Gadua. Gadua is our mother town. Some say it's our spiritual center. Now that site alone has been around for approximately 12,000 years, 13,000 years. And this is, again, that's when, in that time period is when the cultural renaissance started happening. You're going to see a lot more of ceremonies. You're not going to see just us like you would see on television and loincloths and things like that. You would have started to see more civilizations in that time. We had covered up the parts of 9 modern day states, 8 or 9 modern day states. So being both Carolinas, Virginia, a bit of West Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and Georgia. Alabama more recently because at one point it belonged to the Creek territory. But then we beat them in a game of stickball, which was known as our little brother of war, and that became our territory. And then even part of Georgia as well, what is known as Ball Ground, Georgia, it belonged to the Creek people. We beat them in a game of stickball. And so we didn't always go to war. People always think, oh, they were savages. They were always bloodthirsty and going after tribes left and right. I mean, I won't deny that. The reason I say that, like I said, we covered up the parts of 9 modern day states. We outnumbered tribes 9 to 1. I don't think that was just from having a lot of children. But I think, yeah, it was survival of the fittest at one point. But we believed in what was called blood law, eye for an eye. So that meant if an opposing tribe killed let's say my clan brother, well, by God, we're going to go do the same thing to them, kill their clan brother. However, when the Europeans, well, I won't say all Europeans, the colonizers, when the colonizers arrived, then it became, well, these native people are taking too much of this land. They're not even using it for progress. They're just using it to farm and garden. We need to put it into that. We need to build this into a town. We need to build this into a city. So they would start destroying us by the thousands. And then, of course, my blood law, it's like, okay, well, you killed 100 of us. We're going to go do the same thing to you. And it just became this nonstop, never-ending cycle. And then it just got worse and worse. And, of course, wars started and all that. And you go into the French and Indian War. We allied with the French when we probably should have allied with the British. And Then the Revolutionary War came. We should have allied with the British, but we allied with the, oh, no, wait, sorry. We allied with the British, but we should have allied with the Americans. Either way, though, we were never going to win that war. We were never going to win in any way possible. People argue about the Confederacy and the Union. Just to be clear on that, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. We didn't join a Confederacy because of, Southern rights and all that. No, we wanted to establish ourselves as North Carolina citizens in that time. So it was simply for survival. That's why we joined the Americans during wars. That's why we joined the French and the British and all that. It was never for the flag or the crown or anything like that. We were just trying to live. And so, but anyway, aside from that though, everything we do today back home, even your government system is based off of us. The Iroquois Declaration formed later into the Declaration of Independence. You took that from someone else as well. But anyway, I try not to ramble too much, but when I get a moment, I try to take advantage of that. But anyhow, moving on to what I'm trying to segue to, modern day Cherokee people. And this is something I was talking to somebody about yesterday. We have this event, it's called the Fading Voices. Some people call it the festival, demonstration day in the Snowbird community in Robbinsville, North Carolina. And I was telling this person about how in today's time, most of you guys, not all, most of you, I'm not saying everybody, most people in this room, all you have to worry about is making sure you got enough money to pay your bills, making sure you got enough food on your table to feed yourself and feed your children. Overall, basically. Native people, we do have to worry about those things. People think, the casino, you guys got the casino, you got per capita every 6 months. Yeah, but we don't get rich off of it. The casino does help pay for our cultural programming. It helps pay for our hospital. We do get some federal funding, but it's not enough to help us survive. That's why we have to invest in our own stuff, invest in many things to provide for our families. Like, I have to work a 9-to-5 job. I still have to get health insurance. Like, yes, IHS back home does cover some expenses, but if you want good health care, you're gonna have to pay that out of pocket. And that's what we have to do as well. And so in today's time, I will say, yes, we do worry about, those things, the same thing you guys do worry about. But we also got to worry about preserving our language. We've got to preserve our songs and dances, our medicines. So it's a little bit more than what some will have to worry about. As far as our belief system, we do believe in a creator. We believe in a God, similar to you guys do. Everybody has their own right to what they want to believe in. This is America, right? That's why people came here. And so with that, I do believe in a God. I do believe that Jesus Christ exists, present tense. But also do practice our ceremonies. Almost every weekend we have ceremonies back home. And so oftentimes for those ceremonies we have to fast. And again, it's part of that self-sacrifice. And in some ways we still practice that in just everyday culture as well. We practice stickball. We still practice that game today. We don't use it to settle arguments and disputes as far as land and as far as war and all that. More amongst communities, but also to have fun. Also, if you got to get even with somebody, it's also that too. And that's what it was also used for. But anyway, I'm gonna play some more music for you guys. And again, so right here I have a double flute. It's a little bit different than what you saw earlier. It's kind of a two-barrel, double barrel, I don't know what to call it. It's all the same key. It's just a different tone, different octave. So I'm still figuring this thing out sometimes. But I hope I can make something of it. I hope you guys like it. And I was going to get to. I keep forgetting. My mind wanders when I talk, especially in public spaces, and I just start talking about stuff. What I was getting at was that with our songs and dances, our traditional songs and dances, I know people when they think Native Americans, Indigenous people, a lot of times you're going to imagine and picture the powwow dances. Powwow dances, a lot of those originated in the Great Plains region. The grass dance started from the Omaha people. The fancy dance, the fancy war dance, that came from, I believe, the Ponca people. And so our dances, like here in the southeast, we practice our stomp dances. You'll see those quite often out in Oklahoma. A lot of stomp grounds exist out there. And a lot of the times they're open to the public. You just have to know how to get there. Because especially out there, Oklahoma is very flat. There's not a lot of landmarks when you're trying to get somewhere. So usually GPS helps a lot if it's got it. For us, our dance grounds, our stomp grounds, it's in the deep part of the Big Cove community. So it's kind of like back in the mountains, basically. And I actually really like that because our grounds, it has a waterfall, and so that's where we go to cleanse. And during our green corn ceremony, green corn exists usually in late August. Yeah, late August. And for that one, the men folk and the women, we do our own ceremonies, our own sweat ceremonies to get water for the ceremony. Weeks prior, or even a week prior, we have to go up onto the high mountain to this medicine stream and get water from it. And so, and people, probably say, well, why would you go all the way to the top of a mountain to get water where you can probably just go to the waterfall that's right there? Well, the reason, again, it's part of that self-sacrifice. We have to give a bit of ourselves to help basically towards our own blessings. And so there are, even in today's times, not everything, obviously, not everything's going to be handed to us. There's times we've got to work for stuff, and it's not going to happen immediately. Sometimes it takes months, takes more time down the road, probably even a year or even longer. And so I believe, I don't know, again, if you're not a Christian, that's totally cool. That's your own right. I believe Creator God has a plan for everybody, and sometimes you just got to have faith, but also believe sometimes you just got to make things happen to you. You can't just wait for things to happen all the time. But anyhow, again, I keep rambling, and I keep trying to go to what I'm trying to do next. Is I've been kind of sometimes with our songs, like we have animal dances. Like we have this dance. It's the horse dance, and we have a beaver dance, and they kind of sound similar to each other. And the horse dance, basically it kind of goes like, ho-ee-yay, 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 hey-ya, ho-ee-yay, hey-ya, ho-ee-yay, hey-ya, ho-ee-yay, hey-ya, ho-ee-yay, hey-ya, ho-ee-yay, hey-ya, ho-ee-yay, ho-ee-yay, hey-ya, ho-ee-yay, hey-ya, ho-ee-yay. And so those are oftentimes, and what's weird is our songs, they're on beats with each syllable of each word, whereas regular music is the off beat. And so our songs are a little different. So sometimes having to transfer from one style to another can be difficult at times. And so like the horse dance, like I was saying, sometimes I like to mess around with the flute and try to make that same song, but in flute version. So like, I don't know if I'll get it right, but we're gonna try. with those songs, they're, I guess some would say synonymous. Some people like to say that our songs are, definitely unique. Every culture has their own songs. Every culture has their own healing songs. The horse dance, beaver, bear, raccoon, we have all kinds of dances. These are dances used to do before a hunt. And we would do these dances before a hunt in a way as a form of prayer, asking Creator for a good and successful hunt, but also asking for good luck and that we'll be successful in our hunt. And that we would do those dances once more, the songs once more, thanking the Creator for that good hunt and being successful. But those songs and dances were also used as courting instruments. Like the dances, like the bear dance and the raccoon dance were dances for courting. Like the couples would get together and they would use it to have fun. And with the songs and dances, they're even somehow involved in our stories. You see, a long time ago, there was this young man, he was courting a woman, he was trying to do some courting, he was trying to find a wife. And he was looking for a wife, and our council houses, I don't know if you guys ever get the chance, but go to the village, Oconaluftee Village back home in Cherokee. And it's a circular structure. It's got 7 sections inside, of course, 1 for each clan. In the center would be the fire. And typically, we would dance around that fire, doing our stomp dance, or Nigadiyuhi, our stomp dance. It belongs to everybody, as we call it. And then, but that dance, we would practice it around the fire. The fire to us is kind of like trying to put it very, very simply. Think about it like this. The sun is a form of fire. Without that sun, there is no life. Just like water. We need water. We also need the sun to make things grow. And the physical fire is a representation of that sun. And of course, there's our internal fire, the fire that we must always feed. And so that fire, some would say it represents the, I'm just going to say it represents the woman's breast. When it comes to feeding the children, that's where life comes from. That's what helps feed the child. The fire represents that coming out. And so upon that though, but yes, we dance around that fire and we're praying to it. We're praying not to the fire as a god, before people get confused here. To us, that smoke going up towards the sky, that's what carries our prayers. So when you hear the term peace pipe, which we didn't call it that, we did smoke from the pipe before ceremony. And to us, whenever we smoked from the pipe, we'd blow the smoke back out, and that our prayers were held in that smoke going back up towards the Creator. So that's the symbolism behind that. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. Back to the story. The young man was courting for a woman. He was looking for a woman, and in the council house, on the first full moon of every month, we do a ceremony, a ceremonial dance. And so upon going there, he sees the typical women, the usual women he's used to seeing, says hello to him, says hi to him. But then he sees these 2 women that he's never seen before. And these 2 women are a little bit different. These were definitely not women that's from his village. So he assumes, well, maybe from a different village. They could be from a different tribe, who knows? Because they had a different appearance than what he's used to seeing. And so he went to one of the sisters, and he went to go talk to her, and spends a lot of time talking to her, and he tells her, I'm looking for a wife. I want to get married. And so the sister, she says, well, I would be okay with marrying you, but you need to talk to my brother first. My brother is the man of our house, and so if he accepts you, then I will marry you. And the man says, okay, I'd be happy to meet your brother. And the woman says, well, first though, we don't live here. We don't live close by. To get to our home, it's a long walk. And if we take you there, you cannot tell anybody what you have seen and what you have heard. And the man's like, oh, okay. Sure, yeah, he agrees to it. He doesn't argue. He's like, okay, I will follow you. I will meet your brother, and we can get married if he accepts me. And and she says, all right then, when the next dance comes, we'll meet you again, and we'll take you to our brother. We'll take you to our home. And he's like, okay. So he's waiting weeks. He's waiting till the next full moon. He's like, man, I can't wait to meet her. I can't wait to see her family. I can't wait to get married and all this good stuff. He's really happy. He's excited. He's really excited to meet this girl. And so whenever the next dance comes, he gets there early. Like he can't wait to see her. And, she shows up fashionably late with her sister, keeping him waiting. And so he's waiting on her. He sees her coming in. She's, going to everybody, saying hello, mingling with other people, talking to other people. And he's just waiting. He's so impatient. He's just so excited to see her. He's just trembling. He's shaking. He just really wants to be with her, really wants to go back to her home and meet her family and all that. And so he's waiting on her. And then finally, she makes her way over to him, says hello. They greet each other, and then finally dances start happening. And then, typically our dances go all night long until the morning. And we had to go until the sun comes up, sometimes even later. And so they're dancing, they're having a good time. And she, makes the request that, hey, how about we leave a little early? That way we can, meet the family. And he says, well, wouldn't you rather wait till it's, daylight? She says, no, we need to go now. And he's like, okay, well, let's go then. And so, you're not going to argue with that. And so they start walking, and everybody's still dancing. Everybody's still going. The fire's still going. And they walk out the door, and they're walking outside the village now. And so as he's walking outside the village, he's just following them. He's not, he's just taking his time following them. And the women stop all of a sudden. Now these women, to describe, I'm not going to go like full detail because again, this is, I wasn't there, of course, but just how it was told to me. Both these women, one of them was a little bit taller, the other one was obviously shorter. They both had very long, dark, wavy hair, like all the way down to their, I guess their ankles. I don't know. They had really long hair. And so, and that's the thing about Native women, Cherokee women. A lot of them try to keep their hair healthy and clean and nice. And so, but every time, these women he would follow them, and he just thought, wow, these women have such beautiful hair. And he's just admiring that woman that he was wanting to be with, and just really admiring her. And so as they're walking, of course, again, they stop for a moment, and they're, again, walking by the river. They're walking by the river, and suddenly they stop. They turn and face the river. And the river, it's pretty deep. It's a good portion of the river where, it's a swimming deepness, I guess. And so the man asks, well, why do we stop? And the women say, this is how we go to our home. And the man's like, what are you talking about? And he's looking, and again, it's kind of dark, but the moon's out. He can see, and he's like, the river's right here. What do you mean? He said, we take this way to go to our home. And the man's like, aren't you afraid of drowning? And they said, we won't drown. This is the path to our home. He's like, okay. So they start walking, and then he's kind of like puts his foot in just a little bit, and then instead of feeling water, he feels grass. And then as he steps in, the river disappears, and it turns into this grassy trail. And he's like, okay. And so he keeps walking. And so he keeps walking, and he's walking, and again, they stop at another one, part of the river, and they say, follow us this way. This is the path to our home. And he's like, this is even deeper than the other one. Are you sure? You sure this isn't, you're trying to drown me or something? And the women say, no, take this way. This is the path to our home. And it's okay. So he steps in it and again turns in the grass. And he's like, where am I? And then he doesn't argue. He's like, man, I get to go with this beautiful woman, so I'm not going to argue with nothing. And so he keeps walking and walking, and a waterfall. They come up to this big waterfall. Some say it was actually Tallulah Falls. And they get to that waterfall, and again, they tell him, please, go through here. This is the path to our home. He ain't going to argue. He's okay. So he goes in. Sure enough, it turns into this cave, this big cave. It's got a fire inside, and it's got bedding, and it's a home. And he's like, okay, this is nice. And he goes up, and he's like, so, where's your brother at? I'm ready to meet him. And then thunder, lightning erupts, crashes, and the women are like, oh, he's on his way here. And then he's like, okay. So he stands by the doorway, the opening of the cave, and then he's just kind of waiting, and he's, because he's still cautious. He just met this woman not too long ago, so he's, in case he has to get out. Well, and the women are like, come here, sit down, have a seat. And there's like two big rocks, and then so he gets ready to sit down, and then one of the rocks turns into a giant turtle. And he's like, wait, hold up, I'm not going to sit there. That's not a chair, it's a turtle. And the women are like, no, this is a seat. You can sit down. And he's like, I'm going to stand over here. I don't know what, I'm fine. I'll stand right here. So he's standing by the doorway, and another crash of thunder. And again, the girls are like, oh, our brother's almost home. And so the sisters are like, they start to make themselves comfortable. They take off their little bit of their what you call a cape, basically is what kept them warm, kept them dry in rainy weather and cold weather. And then, they pulled their capes off. It was covered in feathers, basically. And then they pull off their hair and hang it up on the fireplace. And the man's like, what? Whoa, what? What am I doing here? Why? What? And then he's like, okay, this has gone on long enough. Look, it's been great. I think I'm going to hold off on marriage right now. I'm going to go home. And all of a sudden, another clash of thunder erupts. And all of a sudden, this big, tall dude standing in the doorway right behind him. A lot taller than him, covered in tribal tattoos. His hair's cut. He looks like a full-on warrior. And he's like, no, you can stay here. And then the sister's like, oh, our brother's made it home. And so the brother, he comes up and says, so this must be the man that wants to marry you. And one of the women, the sister, says, yes, this is the man I want to marry. And then the brother says, okay then. Well, I'm actually on my way to a council meeting. I wish for you to come with me. And the man, he's like, I'm not going anywhere with these people. I want to go back home. I don't want to be here anymore. So he's like, I can't. I'm really tired. We walked a long ways to get here. I need a horse. I need something so I could, get comfortably to the council meeting. And so the brother, he goes to one of the sisters and says, bring this man a horse. And so the sister walks outside the house. And the man's nervous. He's like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of here? And so, the sister walks in. She's got this rope, and she's bringing it along with her. And at the end of the rope, there's this giant rattlesnake, about yay tall, taking up the entire room. And so the man, he's like, no, I can't. He thinks, we didn't do anything crazy back then as far as like hallucinogenics or anything. So he's like, what am I going to do here? And he tells him, I can't ride this horse. I need a saddle. I need a saddle and reins. And so one of the sisters is like, okay, I'll go get you a saddle. So she gets another turtle, puts it on top of that rattlesnake, and then he's like, here's some chains to you to hold on to. And these chains are snakes, little rattlesnakes. And he's like, look, I can't do this anymore. I'm out of here. I'm sorry. No, thank you. I'm sorry. I got to leave. And the brother, he gets upset. He's like, no.
Well, he told him everything he had seen, everything he had heard, everything he observed. The man went to the underworld. And you don't go to the underworld. And you don't come back. And you don't live after telling it, basically. And so, but that's the man who married Thunder's sister, even though they didn't really get married. But it's stories like